Hey, beautiful treasures. Ruthie here. Sherri from Paper Crazy Studio asked me to collaborate with her and do a tutorial about my thought process. She said that she can make covers, but she doesn't do the best with filling in the journals that she creates. Which I don't know if I really believe that. I've purchased a few of Sherri's journals and they are gorgeous. And they look wonderful to me. But, to each their own. So the first thing that I do when I'm working with a journal, usually I'm starting from scratch, but I gather all the materials that I think that I'm going to need. And the key word there is think that I'm going to need, because most of the time I don't need a lot of the things that I pull out. But it's good to have them on hand in case I come up with an idea and they're there for using. So sure, why not? So I'm looking at ribbons, I'm looking at what I have. I did not go out and buy anything, I'm just using what I have. And Sherri, that was her request, was to be able to use what she has on hand instead of for using the printables, which of course there's nothing wrong with printables, but sometimes one just wants to be able to use what you have in your stock. So all of these I have pulled out of my stock pile drawer, so to speak, and I'm just flipping through to see what would go with that beautiful journal cover that she has sent me. I'm pulling out just a few pieces because that journal cover looks vintage, and vintage is actually not my strong suit. But I'm willing to make it work. I'm always willing to try something new. Most of these come from books, and of course, the books that I get are thrifted, or unless they're gifted to me. But do check your thrift stores. That is the biggest encouragement that I can give if you're looking for anything to put into your junk journals. These are absolutely gorgeous, and they all came from book pages, like this beautiful book, and I thought it would do well to go into this journal. I also did some tea dye paper, or dyed paper with tea. There we go. And it came out wonderful. It came out better than I thought it would. So now that I've got it all together, we're gonna go ahead and get it started. I'm grabbing a ruler and I'm grabbing my trusty notepad so that way I can just write some measurements down. I measured Sherri's journal is about 8.5 by 5.5. Actually, it was 5 3/8. The next thing that I do is I just start putting in a pile what I think will go well together. I decided I was going to do 2 inserts, or I was going to start out with 2 inserts, and then I would see how that goes. And if I need to add another insert, I know that I have some paper that I could do that and make another. But for right now, I decided I'm going to do 2 inserts. And the reason that I do that is because it's very easy for me to go overboard, and then it's hard for the journal to close. So I start out small and then I will build my way, because I really want to start out with the 2 inserts and then see with the way that I create the pages if it gives it enough bulk. And if not, after I've put in my pockets and done all the work, then I'll come back and do a 3rd insert if it's necessary. But for now, we're just going to do 2 and see how it goes. The next step is for me to start cutting the paper down to the measurement. I will start with just one sheet and cut it down, and then I will double check to see if that sheet will be okay within the journal before I start cutting all the pages down. I'm folding all the sheets now that I know that I am good to go, and that one I'm going to turn into a pocket. That's why I'm folding it in half. I don't normally determine what is going to be pockets or what are not going to be pockets. I just get everything together. I just gather. It's about the gathering for me. I always just start with the gathering, and then I'll think about the stuff later once I gotten my signatures together. So I'm cutting down the little extra pieces. There's some writing at the top there. I'm just cutting that piece off. And again, I'm just making them the height that, the measurements, there we go, the measurements that I had written down, so that way they will be able to fit in the book. Now, bigger pages can be tricky. This one I decided to cut down. Sometimes I'll do something fancy with them, but like this over here, I'm trying to figure out if it's worth folding or not. Depending on what the picture looks like will help me to determine if I want to fold it or if I want to do something different with it. So here I just decided that I would just fold it, and now I'm just measuring it to make sure that it will still fit within the journal. Sometimes, depending on like what kind of journal that we're going for or that I'm going for, I don't want it to hang out. I don't want stuff hanging out, and sometimes I will. So this one, I just feel like Sherri's journal is so classy that I would prefer that stuff doesn't quite exactly hang out, and if there's going to be anything that's over the edge, I would prefer that it be ribbons. So I started to tear the page, but decided I'm just going to cut it instead, because knowing me, I would completely tear the whole page away by accident. So that big sheet there, instead of for folding it like I did the last one, I decided to cut it in half. But this one here, I decided to take advantage of where the writing is and where the picture is and cut it that way. And that way you can still see the photo and it still stays within the measurements. I'm counting to see how many pages that I have. I believe I'm at about 10 pages right now. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was. Now this one was so beautiful that I wanted to make sure that I could capture not only the photo, but also the wording in the back, which I think it says faith or humility or something of that along that line. So I just folded it right where the words are, so that way it'll be a nice page and not folded halfway where the words are or cut into the picture. Okay, now that I've got that together, I just went ahead and did the same thing to the other pages that I have, and now I have 2 inserts that are ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put them together and make the insert, or bringing the pages together and to see how do I want it aligned, where should things go, And I try not to think too much about it. I do give some thought, but I try not to overthink it. So that way I don't end up spending a lot of time trying to perfect anything. I am mindful so that way there's not kind of the same duplicate things back to back unless it's writing sheets that I don't mind doing back to back, but I try not to do like 2 art pages and 2 something of the same kind, but we'll try to spread them out to the best that I can. Like right there, I realized that the girl at the front and that boy holding the bunny was a little bit too close as far as pages, so I decided that I'm going to swap it out and put the boy towards the center and the inside page, and I think it turned out really beautiful. So now that I've done it for both, I'm checking to see how it fits into the journal. And as you see, it is loose right now. It looks like it could use another insert, but I will not give in to the temptation to do another insert just yet until I have completed the first 2. And I say that because I know myself to be overboard. And now I'm just going through and I'm looking to see how the pages turn or how they're working together. I love how the picture with the boy turned out and the thing behind him. Now right there, I'm considering putting another page there. I'm going to put a tab at the top so that way people know that that page opens. This is the second insert. On the left, I can turn that into a pocket and also put a pocket there. So after I've flipped through and just seeing how everything works, then it sets me up for the next stage, which is decorating the pages. And that's what we're going to do in the next video. So for now, I thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.